When you think about the Texas Revolution, your mind probably jumps straight to the Alamo, right? Or maybe the Battle of San Jacinto. But what if I told you the real fighting kicked off years before any of that? We're about to dive into a little-known battle that just might have been the true first shot of the Revolution. So, picture this. It's June of 1832. You've got a ship full of Texan colonists trying to sail a cannon up the Brazos River. But there's a problem, a big one. A Mexican fort is sitting right at the mouth of the river, and they've made it crystal clear that armed ship is not getting through. You can just feel the tension ratcheting up. So how in the world does a disagreement over river passage spiral into one of the very first armed clashes of the Texas Revolution? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down.
All right, to really get what happened, we need to understand the scene. We need to know about the fort itself and all the bad blood that was already brewing between the two sides.
So this place, Fort Velasco, was a big deal. The Mexican government built it for a very specific reason: to control everything and everyone coming in and out. It was all about enforcing customs duties, taxes, and immigration laws on the American colonists. Basically, it was Mexico's way of keeping a tight leash on the area.
And, this whole thing didn't just come out of nowhere. The real sticking point was money, taxes. The Mexican government had started demanding new payments from the settlers, which the colonists felt totally broke earlier agreements. So yeah, people were already pretty angry long before this cannon ever showed up.
With all that simmering tension, it was like a powder keg waiting for a spark. And that spark? Well, it came in the form of one single, very important cannon.
It really boils down to a classic clash of goals. On one side, you have the Texan colonists. They need to get this cannon upriver to another spot, Anahuac, as part of their larger pushback against Mexican authority. But on the other side, the Mexican soldiers at Fort Velasco have their orders, enforce the law, and absolutely do not let an armed ship pass. These two groups were on a collision course, and there was no way around it.
Well, a standoff like that can only last so long. As the sun went down, the talking stopped, and the shooting started. The mouth of the Brazos River just exploded into a firefight.
So, here's how it all went down. On June 25th, the Mexican forces officially block the ship, and the standoff begins. Then, as night falls, all hell breaks loose. A brutal, intense firefight erupts and rages all night long. Finally, on the morning of June 26, after 9 straight hours of fighting, the Mexican soldiers surrender.
So why did the fort give up? It's actually pretty simple. They ran out of bullets. After an entire night of constant fighting, the Mexican soldiers just didn't have any ammunition left. It was a victory for the Texans, won by sheer persistence.
So the Texans won the battle. But what did this fight actually mean? What kind of impact did this 9-hour firefight really have on the bigger picture? The impact was honestly huge. For starters, this was one of the very first times that colonists and Mexican troops had actually shot at each other. It set a dangerous new precedent. Plus, the victory meant that cannon made it to its destination, which was a big strategic win. The site became so symbolic that later on, the government for the new Republic of Texas actually met there. That's how the area earned its incredible nickname, the Cradle of Texas Liberty.
And get this, if you want to see where this all went down, you can. The historic site of Fort Velasco is now part of Surfside Beach, Texas, a literal battleground that's now a beach town right on the Gulf Coast. Kind of wild to think about.
So that leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. We always focus on these huge, legendary battles. But could it be that this messy 9-hour fight over a single cannon, a full 4 years before the Alamo, was the moment the Texas Revolution really began? It definitely makes you think.